Let's talk about how one founder, a guy named Nick, took a tiny, super specific problem and turned it into a serious micro-SaaS business. This is his playbook.
So how do you actually turn your own frustration into something that makes $16,000 a month? And get this, how do you build it in just a couple of months, even after your other projects have completely flopped?
Yeah, you heard that right. Over $16,000. That's the monthly recurring revenue Nick's app Block to Pin is pulling in for more than 400 subscribers. He's built this incredibly stable, compounding business by focusing on a problem that, honestly, most people would just ignore.
So what exactly is this problem he solved? Well, it didn't start with some grand vision or a brilliant business plan. It started with a simple side project that was becoming a huge headache for him.
See, Nick was trying to grow his blog about cocktails, and he figured out that Pinterest was his absolute best source for traffic. But there was a catch. The workload was just insane. To really grow on Pinterest, you have to post like 5 to 10 new pins every single day, and each one of those can take up to 10 minutes to design. I mean, do the math. That is a massive time sink.
And his journey to get here was not a straight line at all. After his corporate plans got totally derailed, he jumped on the whole AI trend, launched a few apps, and made a grand total of $0. It was only when he switched gears to a passion project, that cocktail blog, that he stumbled upon a real painful problem that he knew he could solve.
Now this is the most crucial point, so listen up. Most founders, what do? They try to build a tool that works for everybody. Nick did the exact opposite. He decided to build the absolute best tool for one very specific person, even if that meant his app would be, in his own words, an absolute disaster for everyone else. That intense focus, that's his superpower.
Okay, so he built the app, but how did he get customers? Especially after his big launch on Twitter brought in exactly $0. It's a tough spot to be in.
Well, Nick's growth really boils down to 3 core things. And what I love about this is that none of them are some secret hack or a viral gimmick. It's all just built on a really solid, old-school foundation.
He has this great name for his strategy, asymmetric marketing. And it's a brilliant concept. It just means you put in a ton of hard work, the real grind, right at the beginning, so that later on, customers start finding you pretty much on autopilot.
And that early grind, it was just relentless. Manual labor. We're talking creating articles, personally reaching out to influencers, posting all over Reddit, just doing anything and everything he could to build those first backlinks and get some initial awareness. It was a struggle for sure, but that's what built the foundation for the automated growth he's seeing today.
Now, what's really, really cool is that Nick has actually boiled this whole process down into a very specific 7-step framework. This is his repeatable playbook for building a SaaS business. So let's actually break it down.
So here it is, his whole playbook, from idea to execution. 1. Find something people are already doing and paying for. 2. Research the competition. 3. Build that first version, that MVP, fast. 4. You have to talk to your ideal customer. 5. Treat your very first user like they're your boss. 6. Let your biggest fans tell you what to build next. And 7. Just focus on getting 1% better every single day. Let's dig into a couple of the most important steps right now.
All right, step 1. The key here is to not try and invent a whole new behavior. As a solo founder, it is so hard to educate an entire market. It's much easier to just find a process people are already doing and tap into a market where they're already spending money to solve that problem. Okay, for step 2, you basically become a detective. You have to dive deep and find out what people hate about the current solutions. That means reading every single review on sites like G2 and Capterra, watching every YouTube video you can find, and just looking for the gaps. What are your competitors not doing well, especially with all the new tech like AI? This quote here, it just nails step 4 perfectly. You can't hide behind a flashy launch. Direct, even cold outreach is not optional. You have to go out and find a real person who feels the pain you're solving and actually talk to them. This is how you get to that perfect product market fit. Once you find that first user, you treat them like they're your boss. You watch their screen recordings, you ask for their feedback constantly, and you try to implement their suggestions immediately. Your entire job becomes making sure that one person is 100% happy. And when you do all that, the math starts to look surprisingly simple. Nick actually figured out that if you can just add 1 new paying customer per day, even with the 10% monthly churn rate, you can build a business with 200 paying customers in a single year.
All right, so let's boil this all down. What are the most important lessons we can take from Nick's playbook and actually apply to our own projects?
First off, for anyone who's wondering about the nitty-gritty, here's a quick look at the actual tools he used to build the application.
As you can see, it's a really modern, lean stack, perfect for a solo founder.
So, to recap what we've learned today, find and solve a painful, specific problem, even if it seems tiny. Then, grow by obsessing over your first few customers, not by chasing some viral launch. It's all about that direct contact, treating your first user like they are your boss, and just committing to those small, daily improvements.
And that really brings us to the final, most important takeaway. The key isn't finding 100 different ideas. It's about committing to one specific niche, solving one pain point better than anybody else, and just sticking with it. So the question for you isn't what to build, it's are you willing to commit?